bunch of guys. We sit together and have a whiskey and a cigar. Everybody donate. Get 25, 40.
Good.
Rapidly growing. Yes, sir. Yes. And Texas A&M is the driving.
Howdy, Yags. Welcome to Monday lunch. I'd like to call up John Kimbrough now to do a pledge and prayer.
Pray with me, please. Loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings you've blessed us with. Father, we thank you for Texas A&M. We thank you for the education that you give the youth of today. We thank you for our athletic teams. Father, we ask you to be with us and guide us. Be with our leaders. Give them wisdom. And in your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Well, let's see if they got the flags right again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Gig'em.
Thank you, John. All right, this week I don't have any silver taps to announce, which is always a good thing. I'd like to welcome any new members or guests. Are there any new members or guests here today? Don't see any. All right, Aggie Athletics. The women came up a little short this weekend against Arizona, and so they got knocked out of the tournament. Aggie baseball won 2 out of 3 against Georgia. Softball swept number 23 South Carolina. Tennis, Don Dixon, you got an update on our tennis program?
Yeah, I was there this week for 2 great matches. The men beat TCU. They were ranked, I believe, 3 or 4 or 5 in the nation. So that was a good win. Then they beat the men Friday. They beat Auburn 5-2. That was a good win. And the women, they beat LSU, which was LSU was ranked high. Women they were ranked 6th, and we beat them. So we had a good week in tennis. They did a good turnout. His families to watch, and anybody who wants to watch really good athletic club.
Great. Sounds like the tennis teams are doing good.
They are.
Dick Kistner.
Logan, we have a new member.
Oh, we do?
Jim Borlock, Class 83.
Thank you for coming, Jim. Another A&M Trap and Skeet had a national championship this weekend at the National Shooting Complex, and they won the national championship. So I guess don't mess with Texas. They got second in 2019, didn't have a 2020, so they've been waiting for a couple of years to get it back, and they did, so that was a big deal. Our capital campaign, we're still fundraising. We've got construction start date planned for May, and but we still need to get there. We've got 1.4 million, and that's 100,000 left in the Maze match, and we will hit our fundraising goals. So keep on sending us the money. We need it. Muster is going to be Wednesday, April 21st. Due to the COVID, we're currently planning on restricting the attendance to family or friends of those on the roll call list. The current limit is 2 guests per roll call name, and we're going to live stream the event as we did last year so that people can watch from their home. Got the family barbecue coming up on May 1st. And we had such success last year. Becky Holmes got us donating meals to the first responders, and we're going to continue that. So if you can't attend, you can still get online and purchase a plate that will be donated to the first responders. Fiesta medals, still got Fiesta medals. 2021's for sale now. 2020 we'll have for sale until we sell out. I'm sorry, did someone want to buy a medal over here? Was that Chris? Okay. Did we give you a 2020 with that 2021? We'll work a deal out with you guys. You know, we're open for that. Okay, we've got the member directory 100-year anniversary. So if you're not a member, get signed up so you can be included in it. If you've got an Aggie-owned business, we're going to feature those as well. So get with Mary and make sure that all your information is up to date. Also over here on the table, we've got all our swag gear in a form to fill out to purchase what you want, and it's got the fleeces and shirt polos and button downs. It's everything that we've got that we're offering, and you can also go online and purchase it as well. But we wanted to have something here for you guys to look up. And Don's been doing a great job putting this all together, so thank you, Don. Reagan Freiling cannot be here today. His wife tested positive for COVID. As far as I know, everyone's doing all right, but might want to keep them in your prayers. And so today we're going to have Don Priest, who's getting ready for his run at being vice president. So he's going to get a little warm up today on introducing the speaker. So I'd like to introduce Don Priest.
Howdy. I'd like to welcome my good friend, Andrew Nelson, Mayor of Bryan. Andrew has served as Mayor of Bryan since 2016. He's also currently the CEO of Lysom America, a software company he co-founded with the Texas A&M University System and Lysom Systems in Belgium. He's married to his wife, Shelly Nelson, for 22 years. He has two children, Rachel, who's a junior at A&M, and Matthew, a son. Andrew's a member of the fighting class, Texas A&M class of 1992. He graduated cum laude with a degree in mechanical engineering and studied abroad at King's College at the University of London. After graduation, he went to work for Anderson Consultant to work in business consulting and information technology, and has been in software ever since. He started several countries as an entrepreneur and remains active with the system as a mentor, speaker to students at the Startup Aggieland, veterans of the Entrepreneur Veterans Boot Camp at the Mays Business School. He currently serves as industry advisor council for the Department of Mechanical Engineering and the Texas University System Relics Academic and Workforce Advisory Committee. He's a regular guest speaker at the Dwight College of Engineering and Mays Business School, and he loves Aggie sports. I've been with him at games, and you can't hear anybody cheer louder than this man does. Fantastic friend of mine, Andrew.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome. I'm going to switch gears here and get this. Let's see, are we on? Okay. Well, thank you guys again for the warm welcome and reminding me that I'm from the best damn Aggie class, 92. Gonna get some arguments there in this group, I know. But well, thank you. It's wonderful to be able to talk to Aggies. I saw Don Dixon here, so I knew there may be more faces I recognize, but I said it's really nice to quote leave town and to still feel like you're speaking with friends and feeling like you're with people you know. Our core values are a great bond, and it's wonderful to speak with you today. I didn't make this the theme of the presentation, but one of the things I want you to think about is, have you changed since college? Who's changed since college? Right. Well, guess what? So is the city of Bryan. Okay, so think about that. Think about assumptions that people may make about you from the time that you were in college. A lot of us Aggies, you know, when I graduated mechanical engineering, I went to Atlanta. I then went to San Francisco. I lived overseas. It was a long time before I came back. And when I came back, I was like, wow. But when I came back for a football game, I came back for baseball games, and it was sporting events. And so I kind of did my thing. I went to the restaurants I was used to going to. I went to my sporting event. I went home. I kind of missed out on a lot of what was really happening across Aggie land. So I'm going to try to rectify that. And for those of you who have not seen what's been going on in Bryan in the last several years, my goal is to have you leave interested in maybe going to see some of these places yourself next time you're in Aggie land. So can't get going, and I'm sorry, I'm going to talk fast. So I hope I can leave time for questions. So I'm going to sound like I didn't grow up in Bryan College Station. I'm going to sound like I grew up in New York, but you'll have to forgive me for that. Operation Restart, I just want to say it's been a crazy year with coronavirus, but within 4 to 6 weeks of everything getting shut down, I with partners, College Station, Brazos County, we all got in it together and said, how do we get our businesses reopened, get back to business, but not business as usual? And that's what Restart was. It happened a few months before Open Texas with the governor, but just really want to thank everyone in the business community and Texas A&M. I don't know if you guys realize it, but Nim Kidd, he's the chief, he's an Aggie. Most of the people who are contact tracing that's happening in Brazos Valley, that's Texas A&M, testing, innovations everywhere. Like everything else, the theme that you're going to see is that we in Aggie land are inextricably tied to Texas A&M University and the A&M system, and the city of Bryan is no different. So it's been incredible growth. The two cities are amongst the fastest growing in the country. City of Bryan hit a record in single family detached residential for 3 years now in a row. It's incredible. You see the trend growing. I'm going to flip through these slides pretty quickly, but you see that we're not just hitting a record by like 1 or 2. We are growing and growing fast, and in all areas. Back when I was young, Bryan had all the highest end neighborhoods, and it had workforce neighborhoods. You're now seeing that also for middle class, upper middle class. Families are moving back to Bryan, and it's wonderful. So you see in the 2,000, 3,000 square foot area, how that's starting to now really take off in the city of Bryan. Another thing that sort of 2 cities, 1 community, going to talk a little bit about crime. How many of you guys kind of perceived that, Bryan was a little bit more of the scary city when you were, let's be honest, I won't be offended. Guess what, guys? That was an earned reputation. I'm showing you, and I'm not showing this so you can see what the numbers are, but I want you to see the trend. That baseline, that black line, we're now below that line. The first row is 1988, right? So this is the lowest Part 1 crime. In Part 1 crime, we have property and violent crime. We have things like murder, rape, aggravated assault, sexual assault, robberies, theft of a motor vehicle. There's also arson, which is kind of a one-off. But those types of crimes, when Bryan was half the size it is today, back in 1988, it had more than double that Part 1 crime. And these are balanced. Every single MSA and city reports these to the FBI. That's why it's called UCR, Uniform Crime Report. You can look it up on the FBI and you can see that. That's the Part 1 property and violent crime. So this is a big message. Over the last decade, the city of Bryan has transformed itself into being a very safe community. If you look at Aggieland, the blue is Bryan, the red is College Station, and you'll see over the last 20 years, College Station as it's grown, has really done a great job of keeping itself as a safe community. If you look at Bryan, you see how much higher it was back in, that's 2002. The last bar here is 2017, where Bryan actually now has less Part 1 crime than College Station. And for the 3 years after, Bryan continues to have less Part 1 crime than College Station. Now, does that mean somehow College Station today? It doesn't. I mean, I spent half my life living in College Station. I love it. Mayor Mooney and I are dear friends. We say 2 cities, 1 community. But when it was crime back in the day, it was really 2 cities, 2 communities. And so I'm really delighted to see that Aggieland now has 2 cities that are safe, that have great schools, that are growing very fast. So again, 60% of Part 1 crime back 20 years ago was Bryan. 2010 to 17, we were down to 52%, and really since 2017, we're actually less than 50% of the Part 1 crime there. So it's a great story. How many people have been out to the Bio Corridor in Bryan? Okay, all right, 1, that's good. That's another area that's easy to miss. Now, when you come into San Antonio, the exciting thing that you're going to see is over the next 20 years, the fastest growing area in our community is going to be that west corridor as you're coming in on 21 and coming down 47 towards Easterwood Airport, making that curve right into the main campus. That whole corridor, you're going to see some incredible things. It's already happening. This area is the bio corridor. President Trump, you may have heard, announced the fact that here at Texas A&M we'd be producing coronavirus. Fuji is in this bio corridor. iBio is in the bio. There's a lot of tech companies and bio companies that are there because of the work that we've done at Texas A&M. And I say we, all the credit goes to Texas A&M University, the university system. As the mayor, we're partners in this, but we certainly partnered for in the bio corridor as a special deal between the city of Bryan and Texas A&M University. We also owned land in College Station. So we did a tax sharing deal with College Station. They weren't able to serve the sewer, the water in their area of the town. So we saved the city of College Station probably about $8–10 million in infrastructure. And we said, we'll effectively serve the city of College Station as if it were Bryan, and we'll get a minority of the taxes in that land. And in some of these areas in Bryan, we'll also share the taxes with you. So it's just a great collaboration, which has now become the bio corridor. I'm going to show you some pictures real quickly through it. This is the Texas A&M University Health Science Center. This was originally land that the city of Bryan owned. It's in the city of Bryan, and those buildings have all been built right now. I mean, that's the actual overhead aerial of Texas A&M University's Health Science Center. It's incredible. That is on a couple hundred acres of land, and the land behind that, the university also owns and can continue to expand one of the country's best health science centers. There's 5 colleges, College of Dentistry, Medicine, Nursing, Pharmacy, and Public Health, which are based there. So it's incredible. If you look at that again, over $300 million of buildings that didn't exist 10 years ago, all right, in your mom and dad's Bryan. Right in that same bio corridor area, you probably have heard of Traditions. You probably already know the Texas A&M golf team calls that home. That's their home course. But this is a mixed use area. There's commercial, there's high tech, high dollar commercial activity going there, and still a lot of other activity. This is the Lake Walk area in the bio corridor by day. At night, you can see they have concerts, outside activities in front of the lake. It's beautiful. The Lake Walk Innovation Center is another thing that the city of Bryan is doing in partnership with the Traditions group there. If any of you guys go to A&M and with your business and you're working with a department, maybe you're working with more than one department, a lot of times you go on campus and you do your thing, but there's not really a home base. This is an innovation center that allows the Procter & Gamble's, the Exxon's to have a space. They don't necessarily have to use it all year long, but they have a space that they can have branded. They always can kind of have a place for themselves. They can do interviews. They can have students there, professors. It's also an incubator. So there'll be programming for business generation and to help startups that are in the area, in our tech area. It's a beautiful building. Right across from that is the Stella Hotel. Again, I'm going to guess very few hands are going to raise, but how many of you have actually been to the Stella Hotel? A couple of you guys. Well, just this year now, in 2020, Condé Nast, the premier travel magazine in the world, ranked the Stella Hotel the 3rd ranked hotel in the entire state of Texas. So you can get champagne and table wine prices right now at the Stella Hotel. It's a beautiful, beautiful 4-star hotel. Not just the best hotel in Bryan College Station, one of the absolute best in the state of Texas. And I've stayed at some incredible hotels here in the city of San Antonio. So it's a real honor to see that. Fuji is in both Bryan and College Station on both sides of the road. They're expanding right now with I think it's $100 million expansion. They've got already, I think, 3 buildings that they're adding another one in College Station as well. And again, on one side of the road, Bryan, one is College Station. I love it. It's 2 cities, 1 community. This is Aggie land. And you guys are the ones, and your kids and the people that you influence to go to Texas A&M are the ones that are helping to transform this community into these things that you would never have thought to see even 20 years ago. This is another building that Fuji's in, as well as Rose Rocks. And some of you guys who may know the folks that build this, Kim Eubanks, and you guys know Kim. Some of you guys may know him and his sons. They're building this, and they've got probably another 40, 50 acres that they're building in that bio corridor. This is iBio, another one that might be building vaccine for the coronavirus, also in Bryan. It's incredible. I could go all day on it, but I'm going to move over to Relis. There's so much to see, and I'm going to leave some time for Q&A. Relis is incredible. 2,200 acres. It's in the city of Bryan. Who would have thought that this picture, how many of us remember Riverside campus? Yeah? Yeah? And I mean, Riverside campus was amazing for its space. You could be left alone to kind of do your work and research. But, you know, the stories there are wonderful stories from the military, from when it was the Bryan Air Base, you know, Buzz Aldrin and people like that. So many people have memories out there. But right now, it's incredible. For those, and again, I'm going to try to see if we can get someone to come back here from the university to really give a presentation on Relis. I can just tell you, as the partner in the city of Bryan, how delighted we are that 2,200 acres of the A&M System campus is now home in the city of Bryan. But this is a collaboration. What you have is a lot of people. We have Blinn College, which has been in the community for a long time. But the vision here, and the new president, President Banks, the chancellor, they had this incredible vision where we're growing so fast as the state of Texas, and there's so many people that want to be Aggies. This can be an avenue to really create a lot more Aggies. So people come, if they don't, if they don't come immediately into the Texas A&M University, they can come, go to Blinn for 2 years. There's already an engineering program that'll let them go directly into the College of Engineering. There's AgriLife programs, also system programs there, but they can go and take that time, get all the core curriculum type classes, and then potentially move after their 2 years into the main university. And if not, they have all the other Texas A&M system universities, and now Stephen F. Austin has also joined the collaboration. So all of them are on this Relis campus so that they can still be Aggies. They can still have this experience to enjoy the community. We can educate the state and spread our core values. Most of you guys may know this, but Relis is respect, excellence, leadership, loyalty, integrity, and selfless service. These are the core values of that Aggies share. And I love that we have a campus that's named after the core values that we love. Some of the things, you can't miss it when you're coming in from San Antonio and you're driving in around the bend. You'll see this Relis campus, but it's now impossible to miss. Nearly $1 billion, in fact, it may be at $1 billion of infrastructure has gone into Relis just in the 4 years that I've been mayor. And again, all the credit goes to the university, the chancellor, President Banks from the College of Engineering, Vice Chancellor Stover, AgriLife, all the different people at Texas A&M who are making that happen. I'm going to quickly just go through some of these buildings. It can be overwhelming when you see it. You're like, wow, I did not realize this. Even I'm surprised, and I live there. This is the Bush Combat Development Complex. Incredible that we're going to have the military back in Bryan like we did back in World War II in Korea. I'm so excited about it. All the futures, the Army Futures Command is expanding their footprint. All of the testing of the all new vehicles happening out at the Relis Proving Grounds. We've got missile technology as well, hypersonics. That is a $6-7 billion industry that will be government driven, but it will include the private sector. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Boeings and the Northrop Grummons and all the people who are looking at space missile technology, hypersonics. It's going to become centered in the city of Bryan around the Texas A&M University system. Just incredible. Right near there, there's also going to be a data center. We just signed a deal. I think it was about a month ago. By the way, Todd McDaniel decided to take the drive with me, and thank you, Todd. If I misspeak, he'll be able to correct anything in the Q&A. But I think that's at least $100 million, and within 6 years, it's going to be a $200 million data center that is in partnership with A&M, but it's a public-private partnership that will include private sector work in an incredible data center. Just a few more buildings I'm going to cut through real quickly. Academic complex for Texas A&M community at Relis. The Blinn College District, there's multiple buildings. The nice thing is Blinn College is making huge investments on the Rellis campus so that they can collaborate with these Texas A&M University System universities so that it's a seamless experience for the students. It's incredible. Beautiful buildings with lots of capabilities. The Center for Infrastructure Renewal ties into Texas Transportation Institute and construction science, all the research tied into road technology and infrastructure so that Texas can continue to grow at the pace that they do. TTI headquarters is now out there and built. You'll see that as you're rounding the bend. There's just so much. And I'd say, next time, just go in there and drive around. You can drive around there for about a half an hour and be amazed at the things that you've seen. I learned to swim out there in the pool. They've torn the pool down for any of those of you back in the 70s who also swam over there, but they're replacing it with a lot of good stuff. I'm gonna move over to downtown Bryan. It's rare to take a snow day, but you guys know we had a little bit of a storm this year. So City of Downtown Bryan has completely transformed. How many of you guys just in the last couple of years have been down to downtown Bryan? Well, okay, quite a few of you. That's wonderful. I still think about half of you didn't raise your hand. So I'm gonna challenge you. Again, this is an area, it's so beautiful now. It's the safest area in the Brazos Valley, but it used to be boarded up and it kind of looked scary, like a lot of Texas downtowns. People thought it was gonna be a ghost town, but it's really transformed. And this is where the City of Bryan made incredible investments, much like San Antonio on a smaller scale, but San Antonio took a big risk with the Riverwalk with Hutman when they first did that. But look what it's done for San Antonio. I think there was similar concern when we made our investments in downtown, but the people who had concerns have told me, even though it was before my time, they say, Mayor, thank goodness that they did this. We now have this beautiful jewel for a Texas downtown. And we've got Texas A&M here. This is Sale Park. It's a park that's in the middle of downtown. I'm only pointing this out just this few months ago. We opened up this little building. It's not an exact replica, but it's on the original site of the original train station for Aggieland. So in the 1870s, both Bryan and Texas A&M started. This is where people would get off. And it's built in the spirit of the same train station on the exact same site. But it's now a place where you can rent it. It's a nice conference room. It's all glass. It's got bathrooms. It's just a neat little spot to add to the park. Downtown North is also expanding. We're working with AgriLife to do a very big project here. But we already have on the building behind the art, over on the right-hand side, that entire first floor, 10,000 square foot, is taken up by the College of Architecture, all the departments of the College of Architecture, primarily visualization. Where, by the way, my daughter is a junior and having a great time getting a degree in visualization. So those of you who know a few people in San Antonio might know Bill Vaughn, who offices in this building with his Vaughn Construction, Gessner Engineering. I probably should have their logo up there. But those of you who know Thomas Gessner and Gessner Engineering, they're doing business all over the state. They've taken over a historic building, put millions of dollars into it. This is in downtown. And they brought probably 100 high-wage jobs into downtown. So who would have thought that? Just, again, those of us who know since college, what did that look like versus what does it look like now? It's incredible to be serving the City of Bryan at this time. This is just another example of a new building in downtown Bryan. I'm not going to bore you since you're not in Bryan College Station, but I'll tell you, all of our major thoroughfares, William J. Bryan, Texas Avenue, South College, Villa Maria, we're working to redevelop all of those. Texas Avenue, South College, and William J. Bryan, we're making them walkable, bikeable, putting tree-lined streets, really making them parkways so that they can be aesthetically appealing. BTU is a big partner in helping us do that because we're dropping power, all the overhead power. Most people don't even actively go, oh, I hate the way the power looks overhead. But Bryan's from 1871, and in the 20s and 30s when power came on, people were like, this is amazing. Now people are like, oh, that's kind of ugly. Well, we're dropping that power. It takes time, it's a lot of money, but BTU has done a great job of putting the City of Bryan. This is Bryan, Texas Utilities. We're one of the few cities that produce power in the state. We have 4 power plants, and I'm happy to say the chairman of the Senate committee who's investigating everything that happened with ERCOT and the PUC said that BTU did everything right. We didn't go down for 1 minute in with our power plants during the storm. We winterized ahead of time, and he said if the other utilities had done what City of Bryan had done, that we wouldn't have been in this mess. So I'm very proud of the work that they've done. They were financially strong, and hopefully we'll be able to get through this, because I think we prepared ourselves for this type of thing. But the BTU has also just been a tremendous partner with the City of Bryan in helping us with the rebirth of our city and the renovation of our city. Speaking of rebirth and renovation, those of you who may know Wallace Phillips, another good Aggie, he donated what used to be the Briarcrest Country Club to the City of Bryan, as well as the facility. It was a $6.5 million donation, 100-acre golf course with the whole facility, and that was incredible. So this is now a Bryan asset for our community. That allowed us to really assure sustainable municipal golf and allow us to take our old golf course, which is called the Travis Bryan Municipal Golf Course, and reimagine that. I'm going to show that to you in just a minute. I'm going to move on to Midtown. I'm going to end at Midtown, I think, and allow for some Q&A. But right here in the middle of this picture, I don't know if you recognize it, that's a chicken oil company. Any of you guys? Yeah, there you go, chicken oil company. Well, chicken oil is not going away, and Jay Cody's barbecue right next to it, it's not going away. The farm patch that people love going to the farm patch, those are going to be there. But that whole area is going to get renovated and redone. The little old Moose building there to the right, that's going to be going away. That whole area is going to be redeveloped and going to be an incredible walkable marketplace. It's one of our many catalytic sites. And this is just, you see, campus is just a few blocks away there. So if those of you know Zachary, University Drive and where that becomes South College, that's Hensel Park, and you get right here. I think most of you guys know the chicken oil company. If you just continue a few blocks past that, you get to Bryan's Midtown Park. This used to be the old Bryan Municipal Golf Course. Well, with the donation of the city course, we now have 150 acres to create the best destination in Central Texas. And I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of what we're doing right now. This is the overall plan. It includes expanding, cleaning out Bryan Midtown Lake, cleaning it, deepening it so that you can have all kinds of recreational activities, triathlons, fishing, all kinds of things that we used to not be able to do in that body of water. We're expanding it by about 25%. There's also going to be a boardwalk, retail, family entertainment. There's an amphitheater with music. There's on the top side at kind of a 12 o'clock, if you will, that is a 125,000 indoor event center. You can have 16 simultaneous volleyball games going on, 8 simultaneous basketball games. There's lots of meeting space. I'm going to show you some of those pictures. On the bottom left, you see that's actually Big Shots, which is golf entertainment. Have you guys heard of Big Shots, Top Golf, those types of facilities? That is now going to be in the City of Bryan in that park as well. 60 bays, restaurants, bars, putt-putt golf, lots of entertainment. In total, we're expecting just from the indoor event center and Big Shots, north of 1.5 million visitors a year to this facility. And again, it's mere blocks away from the main campus. So I'm just going to show you a few pictures. This is being built right now. We are bidding out the construction of this building. You see the entrance, the flex deck area that looks out onto the lake. It's a beautiful facility, whether it's a sporting event, conferences, weddings, whatever you want to do. It's a huge and great facility. This is Big Shots for those of you who have heard of that golf. You see the putt-putt golf, chipping. They're going to do golf lessons, but it's also 60 bays where you can go and have entertainment. The food, I went to their grand opening at Champions in Fort Worth last week, and it's an incredible facility. So excited that Big Shots is going to be a part of the City of Bryan. You're also going to hear more people. In fact, we may come and give you regular updates, but we've started a new destination marketing organization called Destination Bryan. To really help get the word out on some of these things for people who don't live directly in Aggie land, but are part of the virtual Aggie family, so that you know more of these things that are happening. Most of you know we have Messina Hoff, but what's really going on. And so really excited that organization has just started this year, and we can help get the word out about the City of Bryan. So thank you for your patience. I talked a little longer than I wanted to, but hopefully we got a few minutes if you guys want to ask any questions. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Yes, sir.
A&M's just tough to get into. I mean, academic standards are really high. How many students are in Blinn?
So the question is, it's getting really hard to get into A&M. How many students are at Blinn? There are the Blinn campus in Bryan College Station actually dwarfs the Blinn campus in Washington County. So the main campus has north of 2,000 to maybe 23. And again, I'm not a member if I get it a little off, but I think it's about 2,300 in Washington County. And we generally are between 12 and 14,000 in the city of Bryan. So Blinn is growing. Rellis campus, they have a couple thousand students already who are out there at the Rellis campus. The other part of this was it's so hard to get into A&M. You know, I was a charter president of the Engineering Honors Program, and I told my daughter, I don't think I could get into A&M right now. So, and it's just the state is growing. It's like vineyards. It takes 5 years for a grape to come, but you've got to make that investment. Well, the state of Texas is in that same challenge. You can't just drop water on the ground and you have a university. So what we're doing at Rellis is incredible. Blinn's a great partner with us. The A&M System Universities are a great partner, and it's helping to feed more students into A&M. I was worried as Texas A&M grew in its size that the quality of the education might suffer, but I have to hand it hats off to the new president, President Banks. She's been, speaking as someone in the Industry Advisory Committee for Mechanical Engineering, I've seen our department grow tremendously, and I've seen the quality of the department grow with it. And Don Dixon shares his service with me on that committee. Thank you for helping to have our success in mechanical engineering. But you're seeing that across the board at Texas A&M. We love that we're Aggies, and I know I worked hard for my degree. I earned it, but I don't know if I could get in. And it's not about can you succeed if you get in. If you're not an automatic admit, I heard a statistic that 1 out of 9 can get in after that. So the quality of student is incredible. These students bring money into this community. It's part of why, hats off, even though we're partners, part of what I need to do is stay the hell out of the way and let the university do its thing so that they can grow this wonderful Aggieland community that we have. Good question. Yes, sir.
The name was officially changed, College Station.
Yeah, well, I think that's a reflection. That the question is that someone heard on ESPN that they're now saying Bryan College Station for Aggieland. I think that's and yes, and that's a big deal for us. It's a big deal because really that decision was made over a decade ago. If you look, almost half the colleges at Texas A&M are on Bryan soil. You have the Health Science Center. I mentioned the 5 colleges that are there at the Health Science Center, and that's Texas A&M University. We've got the College of Architecture in downtown and potentially AgriLife in downtown. Out at Rellis, you've got College of Engineering and AgriLife. So you've got nearly half the colleges already on Bryan soil. That wasn't the case 20 years ago. That wasn't the case for most of the history. The city of Bryan, Harvey Mitchell, you guys go on Harvey Mitchell Parkway. Well, Harvey Mitchell and other Bryan business leaders donated the land back in the 1870s that became Texas A&M. Those of you who know Calvert, same year, they donated money for a steel mill. We sure got lucky that Aggieland got the university and not the steel mill in retrospect. But if you look at the investment that Texas A&M has had, the fact that A&M has grown these 2 cities into one. I mentioned the crime being the same. Schools, we have the International Baccalaureate program for Bryan School District, advanced academic programs. You're just seeing these cities blend in as one community. Texas A&M is simply reflecting that with the acknowledgement that they've got close to 3,000 acres of Texas A&M University or university system in the city of Bryan, and that's still relatively new. It's just like these other things. We just got to get the word out, and I think that will help. Thank you for that question. Yes?
Looks like in the map of Bryan, there's a big area that is not annexed into Bryan, it's surrounded completely. How big is that, and what's the story?
Yeah, there's a donut hole. The question is that if you look at Bryan, there's a little hole that Bryan surrounds that we call sort of the donut hole. It's an agricultural area. It was earlier, many years ago, the annexation that happened kind of ended up surrounding that without that happening. You can't actually do that in the state of Texas anymore. So that's a relic of the past. And at some point it might get annexed, but it's a lot of farmland, and if people want to be annexed, we have self-annexing if you ask to be annexed. So it's something we can certainly consider. But when we annexed the Rellis area, it was probably the smoothest, least combative type process. Texas A&M asked us to do that annexation. BTU is a partner with them, providing power. We're providing infrastructure out there. There are a couple people that weren't happy about it, but we really kept the number of families that were annexed to a minimum, and it was actually pretty smooth. But yeah, that donut hole is a relic of the past. Yes.
Notice that Glenn is now on the Rellis campus. Do you think at some point in the future they'll totally relocate Glenn to Rellis, because land where they're at is becoming more valuable all the time?
The question is, given that 75–80% of the Blinn students are in Bryan and not in Brenham, will they eventually just move there? I don't think that will happen. Blinn College has a very rich history in the city of Brenham and in Washington County. The tax base there has funded it for many decades, and there's a lot of pride in that university there. So I think the relationship with Texas A&M will continue to grow. Blinn is a vital partner to what's happening for the success of the university. If you look at the fact that they build their coursework to be in many ways virtual Texas A&M University classes, so that when you get good grades, when you demonstrate that you can fit in, everyone who goes to A&M unfortunately doesn't get a degree. There are holes that open up. And if you've got outstanding students at Blinn, like you said, I probably would be someone who went to Blinn and would have to get in that way, because I don't know that I could have been an automatic admit. But I'm really glad for the job that they do. But I think they're going to continue to be a vital partner, but they'll keep their home base, even though it's a fraction of the students. They're gonna probably keep that in Brenham. Yes, sir, in the back.
Yeah, what's the population of Bryan?
Question is the population of Bryan. We're going to get that census. We're not sure, but roughly around 90,000. We're pushing 100,000, somewhere in that area. College Station is also a little over 100,000. So if you look at the Brazos County, we're probably around 260 when you include the whole area, and the Brazos Valley about 360, 370 if you include even though they're rural counties. They're not too far away from us, but that's the population. We're a young community, as you would expect. Bryan and College Station, the average age is, I think in College Station, it's 19 and a half or something like that. And for us, it's, I'm actually not kidding. Actually, here, I'm going to call on Todd McDaniel. Do you know what it is? I think we're literally in Bryan, I think it's 21. And in College Station, it might be 19 and a half. I mean, you've got a lot of families in Bryan College Station. I am the grandfather. Yeah, don't say that just yet. She's a junior in college. So my son just started Savannah College of Art and Design. He said, "Dad, if A&M needs to get a film school," and then because he bleeds maroon, but they didn't have the program that he was wanting to get. So I told him, I said, "Well, how about this? You go, I'll pay all that extra money if you go to Savannah. It's one of the best film schools in the country." I said, "But you come back and you help us go build a film school at Texas A&M. So you got to be great at it to do that." I'm counting on him though. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so with all the event centers and growth that you see in Bryan, and obviously you know about game day weekends and lodging accommodation requirements. Sometimes it's pretty hard to find a place. Do you foresee any growth in Bryan, and what does that look like? Is that like hotels or bed and breakfasts? Or
you bet. Well, the question is, with the tremendous growth in Aggie land, how is and with all these things that we're creating, how is City Bryan capitalizing that? Are we going to have hotels? Yeah, I mentioned that one of the top hotels, third-ranked hotel in the country, is the Stella. That's been built in Bryan. We've built a lot of hotels in Bryan. The park will likely see a hotel. There's going to be too many visitors who come for too many days to not want to have local hotels there. The answer is yes. City of Bryan is growing. Part of what excites me about having that facility is not just that it's just a few blocks away from Aggieland, and you know, again, the estimates are over 1.5 million visitors, and a lot of those are going to be students. The students are already flooding in there. Our downtown Bryan, our first Fridays, students are, I mean, they're discovering and loving. They want interesting places. They love owner-operated places. What I love when I come to San Antonio, you've got your Pappadeaux's here, and I love, by the way, I love Pappadeaux, but you also have just these cool places in San Antonio. It's an aspirational, it's a different city, different scale, but Bryan has that owner-operator feel. Students are loving that today. There's an authenticism that they really love. You know, keep Austin weird, keep College Station normal. You see the signs. Well, we say just keep Bryan interesting. Keep Bryan. I want people to be curious and have that. And so you're going to see that. The redevelopment of South College is going to include lots of cool places. If you look at the investment we're making on the corridors, you're going to see people redevelop. We're putting probably $70 to $100 million into this park. This is not for the faint heart. It's a 100-year decision, just like Kyle Field was joining the SEC. This is the kind of thing where people will look back and they're going to say that things really transformed when we made this investment.
What size is the ETJ and how much of that's been annexed by the Twin Cities?
The ETJ is 3 to 5 miles, depending on, so when you hit 100,000, so we're still at 3, we'll be near 5. We really, aggressive annexation isn't really even talked about. It's not a strategy for the city of Bryan, but it's there. College Station, is surrounded in many ways by floodplain. So College Station has grown dramatically south, annexed a lot south, but they're kind of at floodplain, Welborn, Navasota. So they're really going to do more infill, I think, in College Station. Bryan doesn't have so much floodplain. We can grow east, west, and north. So I'd say over the next half century, Bryan, will inevitably grow a lot more, probably than College Station can. So right now, College Station, with the students though living in College Station right near the main campus, College Station has a bigger population than Bryan. When the students go away, the post service says things like, hey, we get more Christmas packages from Bryan addresses than College Station addresses. But it's really hard for us to know. I don't think that's because Bryan people are more generous at Christmas. I think it may be just that when you look at when the students go, we might actually have a bigger population. We don't know. That's one of the challenges with student populations in our country, especially in places like Aggieland. I mean, I think the estimate is about 15% of the students live in Bryan. That means 85% of them are in College Station. But for both cities, it's hard for us to know. And you get credit with the census for counting them. And a lot of people, are they counting them here in San Antonio, or are you counting them in Bryan College Station? So if you know those people, let them know to at least count them where we are.
Hopefully pretty soon the population will be the Bryan College Station metroplex.
Yeah, well, that's what I'd like. I'll say, and I've said it before, I think one day that it'll be one city and we'll probably be better off for it. I'd resign today if we could do that, because there's a lot of people who might cringe at that, but at the end of the day, we already partner so much. The two cities, Mayor Mooney and I, we say 2 cities, 1 community. When you dial 911, the College Station Fire could come to my house. Bryan Fire can do a call. They're all integrated. It's effectively an integrated service where we work as partners. During the storm. All the water wells for College Station required BTU power, or the city of College Station would have no water. Of course, we're going to partner and take care of them. And guess what? When our water was running low on the same storm, who helped feed some water into our water towers to make sure that we kept pressure? City of College Station. Both cities are working so closely together. So, occasionally you hear differences, but I've loved serving with Mayor Mooney, and I mean, half my years of living in Aggieland, I've lived in College Station. I've lived 2 cities, 1 community. Yes, in the back. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. What's Bryan's experience with vacation rental by owners, and how's it impacting Bryan and the demographics of that?
The question is, for those who can't hear the question virtually, is how are vacation rentals by owners handled in the city of Bryan, and what's the strategy for that? We've been fairly laissez-faire with that in the city of Bryan. Honestly, we have a lot of historic buildings in downtown. Our city is from the 1870s. There's a lot of interesting places. So I think there's going to be a place for them. I think it's great. The world changes, the model changes, that the biggest taxi company in the world doesn't own a taxi. The biggest hotel in the world doesn't own a hotel. Okay? That's what the world is telling us. So you can fight that. You know, you can be, you know, my dad came and got his PhD here at Texas A&M and helped, you know, thank God, make me a Texan my whole life. But he originally, my family's originally from Bethlehem Steel up in the north, and they fought the steel industry closing down. But I mean, he said, look, I got to go back to school. I may have escaped 2 rounds of layoffs. And this is in the late 60s, but he said, I can see what's happening here. You can fight this, or you can go and redefine yourself. So I think we're still going to have a strong need for great hotels, but I think there's going to be a home for that model in the city of Bryan. I know College Station is not so eager to accept that right now, but I don't know the latest because again, I got my hands full in the city of Bryan. But to date, I think we're letting that play out. Well, thank you guys. I'll stick around if there are more questions afterwards, but thank you. It's been a real honor to speak to my Aggie family. God bless.
Andrew, a nice present for you from one of our Aggies in town, Boulder's Fiesta Spices.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you for coming in.
God bless. Thank you.